It's story time. Chapter 2. How did we get here?
My name is Corey Choi, and I'm originally from Silver Spring, Maryland.
Apologies for the sound quality of our call.
So, when I was a little kid, my best friend was named Sam, and we used to play. He lived across the street. And I used to have a recurring nightmare about this weird, translucent, purplish monster, kind of in the form of a man, but with an indistinct face. The best way to describe it is almost like a personified bruise. If a bruise was a person, it was very scary looking. Every time I would see it, I would just have this complete and encompassing feeling of terror. And in the nightmare, usually I was running or I was hiding from this thing. I would call it I Don't Know the Monster was my name for it, because I didn't know how to describe it, really. And no matter where I would hide, it would somehow figure out where I was and start coming towards me. And for whatever reason in these dreams, if I was hiding somewhere, I could always see where it was through the walls. And I could always know just the exact moment when it knew where I was and was coming. And I think what made this different for me as a kid is that it felt more real than other dreams that I had, and I could remember them much, much, much more vividly. After waking up from them, I would be covered in sweat and I'd be shaking, and I would have other nightmares, but this is one where it was like, okay, here I am again. This is exactly the same. This is exactly the same. This is really scary. So Sam and I were best friends, and I think we were either somewhere between 4 and 6, somewhere around there at the time. And I would tell him about my dreams or whatever. I forget exactly how it was, but somehow we discovered that he had been having the same dreams. And what was interesting is that he didn't dream that this thing was chasing him in his house. It was always that we both were dreaming that the whole chase was happening in my house. And the next night, Sam and I had the same dream about hiding in the same places together. And we could tell each other exactly where we were, what was around us, where we decided to go next. It was pretty weird. And we told our moms, his mom, Carol, was like, Sam was asleep at our house all night. How would he possibly, be over there? And this is a time when your kid adores a real obstacle. Like if it's locked, maybe you know how to unlock it, maybe you don't. Our moms chalked it up to, just kids being kids. So it would keep happening, though, and that we thought it was weird. And then this is the weirdest one, and this is why I actually wrote to you, because I remember this when I saw your prompt. One time, I was having a really, really scary version of this nightmare. I was hiding in the basement. We called it the blue room. So I was hiding in the blue room under a box, and I was hiding with my friend Sam in the dream. And I Don't Know the Monster had kind of locked on to us, and he was coming and coming and coming, and we were getting scared, more and more scared. And before, in these nightmares, he would get to the point where it would discover us and get close, and then I would wake up. This time, it got closer than ever before, and it did something that it never did before. It moved something. Before, it would only pass through spaces. This time, it threw the box that we were hiding under off. At which point, in the dream, and at which point we just started running, and we started running up the basement steps. And This is the weird part that I'll never be able to explain. Both Sam and I woke up that night running up the basement steps screaming. No one ever figured out how Sam had gotten from his house to my house. You know, of course, my mom came running, and she was like, "What the heck are you doing here, Sam?" Brought him over, and it's the middle of the night. "What are you doing up? Why are you not in your room? Why aren't you with your brother in your room?" And yeah, we just never had an explanation.
So not only did Corey and Sam have the exact same dream, but they both woke up in the basement of Corey's house. What are some logical explanations for this to have happened?
I know that people do sleepwalk sometimes, so I think what my parents thought was maybe Sam had their explanation is that Sam was sleepwalking and came over to our house and came to the basement, and I was also sleepwalking, and somehow that happened. Or, I guess that's the version where my parents believed us. I asked my mom about it once or twice, and she's always like, "You must have been sleepwalking." I have never sleepwalked. Sam has never sleepwalked before or since. So I don't find that super plausible.
Let's say that Corey and Sam were in fact sleepwalking. It still doesn't explain how Sam got into Corey's house.
The way my house was set up, first of all, there was a sliding door that you would have to open up that had a lock on it. But not only did the sliding door have a lock, and this is something that's really funny, my mom, it was an addition for the sliding door. So there were basically two doors. You would have to go in through the addition, which we called the new room. And then you would have to go through the new room to what was originally the front door to get to the house. So there was two exterior doors. And the thing is, my mother didn't feel secure because there were some pranksters, prankster kids in my neighborhood. So in addition to the lock, every night, my father would put a bar in the new room door to keep it. It would be impossible to slide it open. You'd have to break the door to open it. But, when we were like little kids, there's no way without somebody removing that bar that somebody would have gotten in. And then after that, they would have had to gotten through the exterior door. As for windows, they were too high up for me to reach at that point. I would have had to drag a chair and figure out how to unlock the window, open the window, get the screen open, have Sam climb through. As a teenager, maybe I would have gone through the windows, but as a little kid, no way.
After that incident, Corey and Sam never shared the same dream again. But that night changed Corey forever.
Everybody has a moment in their life where they realize that their parents or adults in general might not just be right about whatever they're saying. And when you have that moment, it hits you like a truck. And the first time you realize that your world, your parents just don't control everything in the world. Even your mom, can't just control everything. And she might not be right, or she might not know what happened. That's a big moment in someone's life. I think for me, it probably happened a little bit earlier than some people would have that happen. I was a pretty little kid when I realized that what she's saying is not what I know to be true. I've always been fascinated with the spiritual and the magical ever since. Once I realized that not everybody knows what's going on, and maybe some things are unknowable, I've always wanted to kind of explore. I've always had a pretty healthy curiosity about different religions. So yeah, no, I think it did have a pretty big impact on me now that I think about it. Maybe it wasn't just this, but this in combination with lots of other things.
These are the types of stories that fascinate me the most. It's seemingly simple, but the more you dig into it, the more strange everything becomes. Did Sam somehow teleport into Corey's basement? And even if they simply were sleepwalking and somehow managed to open a window or undo all the locks, they managed to coordinate everything while completely unconscious. Or what if someone was there with them, assisting them along the way? Stories like this are a reminder that we may never know what we're capable of or what truly goes on around us when we are asleep.
This is something that I've never been able to explain, and I don't think I ever will be able to explain. And that's what, to me, that's what supernatural is. That's what spiritual is. That's what paranormal is. That's what higher power is. It's something that you can't explain, and I don't think there ever will be a way to explain this.
Thanks for joining me today. If you like what you heard and would like to support this independently run show, consider becoming a member of my Patreon. Visit patreon.com/storieswithsapphire to see the different tiers and perks like live watch parties or private tarot readings. What strange things have happened to you at night? Email me at storieswithsapphire@gmail.com. Salamat and good night. Stories with Sapphire is created and produced by me, Sapphire Sandalo. Out of Body, Out of Mind was submitted by Mike Nevada. My Gothic Soulmate was submitted by Marie Conway. Special thanks to my guest, Corey Choi. Music written by Sapphire Sandalo. For more information on this episode and my guest, visit storieswithsapphire.com.